Hello guys, this is Abhi and I'm gonna show you today how to make login page with the database. In my last video I showed you how to make the login page without database and it was pretty easy. So to create with the database we have to create the table too, and we will add the data server and I'll show you how to do it. So first of all we'll just create the empty project. Here we go, select the application and give it name whatever you want to give. I'll just give login with database because we are adding the database, and click OK. There are some templates you can see here: empty, web form, MVC, web API, single page application, Azure. So these are the all kind of templates. If you will select the web form, it will give you some pages by itself, and MVC I'll teach you in my next videos. Right now we'll just do everything from the scratch. So don't forget to check out this web form checkbox and just click the OK. It will create the whole empty project and we will add one login page. So we created one empty project. Right now there is nothing, so we have to add the web form in the beginning. So right click on it, there is a add option, just go and click on it. It will give us some templates and some options. We can just select from here web form, as I said in my last video, or we can do the new item, and here just web form give us as a login page. Click add. It will add the login page in your project. Here we go. This is the coding, this is the design page, design source, and whatever we will add in design, the code will be created by itself. It's auto generated. So right now we will just create the simple login page. And then in my next videos I'll show you how to add the styles and JavaScript. Right now here there is option toolbox and server explorer. You can just go in toolbox and right now we need the text box for the username, and here is the text box. Just double click on it, it will be over there. And to easy to understand, here the code will be created by itself. It's same as a password. You will just write the password and space, double click on text box, it will create the text box for password too. Same as for button, just double click on button and we'll put one label that's for message. It will show if we are successful to login, it will show the successful login, otherwise it will show an error. So this is for, I said first is for message, this is for login button, and we'll give name login. Here this is text box for username, so we'll give txt username, and same as this is for password, so we will just write txt password. So it's very easy to get it which text box is for which. So right now we'll just create the same design as we did in my last video. So for the click event, double click on the button. It will generate the button click events by itself. So now we want to add the database, because we have to do everything together. We can't do in the end. So right click on it. I'll show you how to add the database. First of all, there is a add and there is a SQL Server database. You can see here. You can just click on it, or I'll show you in new item where you can find the database. Here there is a different options. We will use the SQL Server database for now, but in my later videos I'll show you how to use this ADO.NET entity data model dataset. But right now we'll just create the simple database. So click on the SQL Server database and give it name as a login DB or whatever you want to give it. Click on it. It will ask you to add in the app data or not, but it's better to add in app data, so we can just make it differentiate between the database and other web forms. So it will be created in like 1 minute. Here we go. The login database will be created in the app data folder because we hit the OK in that dialog box. So now if we double click on it, you can see it will open the file over here, and you can see there are some table views, some folders over, but right now everything's empty because you don't have anything right now in your database. So now we want to create a table. There is a folder named table. We will just click on it, and we will just do right click. It will give us an options: add new table, new query, refresh, or properties. We will just select the add new table. It will create a new table, and here we go. The design is loading. Here we go. So this is the table. This is the table, how it will look like, and this is the code for the table. If you learn the MySQL, then you will know how it works. This is slightly different from the MySQL because you have to write the system too. DPO works as a system, and there is a table name. This is the always as a table name. So right now we didn't give any table name, so we can just give user table TBL as a table. So this is the table name we just gave, or whatever you want to give, you can just give it. Now we will have two columns as username, and we'll give the virtual that will accept the number or any string. The virtual, same as we did, and here the ID is primary key. It's always primary key by it's auto generated. If you want to change, you can always change it, but we will keep the same for now. And if you want to do the ID as auto increment, how will you do it? Then you can just write identity. It's a SQL command. You can just write identity. It will increase one by one. So that means the ID, it will be auto increase, and it will increase by one. So how to save this database? You don't have to press Ctrl S. You can just hit the update. It will give you what will be the update in the script. So right here there is in highlights there will be none, and user action, the create query will be executed and there will be user table will be created. So you can update database, so it will create the user table in our database. Here we go, you can see here the green means it's completed. So you can just refresh here, so it will show our table over here. So if you want to see the data, just right click on a table, there is a fifth option, show table data. It will show what data is in our table. Right now it's null because we didn't enter any data. So in the username, just you can put any username you want to give and press enter. It will save data by itself. You don't have to update whole database every time. If you do changes in the table, then you have to update every time. But if you do changes in the data, you add the data, you delete the data, you don't have to update every time. Now you have one column, you don't have to write ID because it's auto generate. Even you will add the another column, the ID will be created by itself, 1 2 3 in this ascending order. So we have now database build. Now we want to just connect this web form to the database. So how to connect the database with the web form? Just double here, you can see the database. Just double click on the database. You can see there is a long connection string. This is connection string, means it's a whole string that will make the connection between the web form and the database. So to do it, just double click on it. There is a third row, double click on it and copy whole string, and we want to add here as a string, connection string CS is equal to, this is a string, so we will write in double quotation marks and we will paste over here. This is a long connection string, we don't need it right now. Okay, so you can see here there is an error. It will show the unrecognized SK sequence because this is the ASP code. This is the C#. You know you can't use the 1/ because the 1/ used for many another purpose like comment and another thing. So you can just in double quotation mark you can just add the 2/. It will just remove your error. Here we go, see. So I'll show you very easy way to how to remove this error, because if you have very long path over here, this will show the path of your file. My file is right now in C, user file, source repos, login with database and login with app data, and here my file is over here, the database file. So how to do quickly, I will just write here outside the quotation mark, I'll just do the @ mark. It will show this is the whole string and it's a path, and it will convert it into a path, so we don't have to worry about the / anymore. So now I'll show you one more trick. This is a long path. We don't want to write every time this thing because it's very long and it's useless. So what we can do is we'll just delete this part. We can do 2 pipes and we will write data directory. This data directory is has inbuilt path. It will create the inbuilt whole path that will just be deleted, and it will give us direct the database file. So it's very easy to read in like one sentence. So it's just for good practice. So right now we want to make a connection and we want to execute. We write a query and we will execute the query. So to make a connection, I will write a new method as like using bracket and bracket. In using, I'll make a SQL connection. So new SQL connection. Right now I don't have library for SQL connection, so I have to import from it. So here we go. There is a yellow bulb. You will just click on it. It will give you the option like you can just import data.sql client. Here we go. We just imported over here, and we can use now SQL connection as a. So here we will connect this string data. This is connection string to connect the web form and database. So don't forget to write connection string or between the SQL connection. So once we will start the connection, it will execute this connection string, and it will be connected by itself. So between the connection, now in the design here, whatever we will write in this text box, and we will hit the login. We have to take the data from this username and password data. So how we will store the data is we will take object username, and we can just store the data in object as we gave the id txt username for the username. So it's a text. It will gain the data from the username from the text box in the design. So username and same as a password. I'll show you how to use this both. Here we go. So right now we have two objects that has the value from the text box. So what we are gonna do is we will just write a SQL command. This will help us to execute the query, but this will also help us to compare the data between this object with the database, because we have one row called admin over here. So we have to compare whatever the user will put here in the text box. It will compare with the database. If it's equal, then we will logged in successfully, otherwise it will give us error. So right now I'll just write the SQL command. Now here you can see the options. It will give us some suggestions: string command text, string command with connection. So we will use this one to make it connection. So first of all, string command means we will put a query for it. So I didn't write a query yet, so I'll show you how to write a query. And the another is says SQL connection. So for the connection, there is object say con. So we don't have query now, so I'll show you how to write a query. If you query is always a string, so just write a query string. And if you know the MySQL, then you know how to write the SQL query. You will write select star from your table name. It's a user table. Select star from select every row, every details, every information from your table. Where now we have to write the column name, so we can just tag these two, username and password, over here. So we can just show here what column we have, username. So where username is equal to @username and password is equal to @password. Now what does this @username and @password means? @username means once we will come, the object will be stored in the @username and it will compare to the database. If user will write the name admin, and it will store in the database by this text box, and then it will compare to the database, and if it's similar, then it will show the successful message. Otherwise, if user will write something else, then it will show the error message. So how we compare these two database? cmd dot, you can just write the parameters dot add with value. So we can, here you can see the suggestion, parameter name and value. So it's string, so we will write in double quotation. Parameter we just write in our query username, and value we want to compare with the object. It's called username we created over here. We will do same for a password. @password. It will be compared. Now you have to open the connection, otherwise it will give you an SQL exception, that SQL client connection open exception. So you have to be careful there for that. Now you want to read data from your table. There is a one row and you want to read it. If this admin and this object, the stored value admin, if it's same, then it will give us a successful message. Then how to read the data? There is a command called SQL data reader. It will read the data from the database. You don't have to initialize it as you did the connection, and here you will just execute the query. There is a command name. We will execute this query because this includes everything, this query and this connection too. So we will just execute this cmd object, and there is a name execute reader. It will execute everything, whole SQL command, query, connection. It will make the connection, so you don't have to worry about anything. Now we will write the if statement. If rdr, the data reader object, if it will read any row, like the first row, then we will write the message. We put the label over there. So in the label, the message will be showed successfully logged in. Otherwise, it will give us an error in that label, that incorrect password or username. Please try again. That means you entered the wrong password or wrong username. So please try again to log in into your account or into your. So this is all it. There is we just created the table over here, and everything's here. We will try running this code and we will see how it works. So it will run through the server in Firefox. You can select any of these from here. I just selected Firefox because Firefox works for me. You can select Google Chrome or any another browser. So we run in the Firefox. It's running. Here we go. It's a Firefox. There's a form that we created. We can add admin that is a username and password admin. Right now I didn't do the text mode as a password, so it will show the string over here. I will just change it later. So if you do the login, it will check from the database there is a record is available or not. There is a record available, so successfully logged in. If you write anything else instead of the admin and if you try to log in, it will give you an error. It's incorrect password or username. Please try again. Same as a password. If you write any password, even you write the right username and you try to log in, it will give you an error, incorrect password. You have to be the username as admin and password as admin. Then you can just successfully logged in and you will successfully go into your account as if you are making the bank website or what. So here password is a string right now. We can just change the text mode. Don't forget to stop, it's a debug mode. So here for the password you will just write text mode and there is many options over here, date format, color, date time, local, email, but we need the password for it. There is an option for password, so we just write and we will run again in Firefox. It will rebuild and run in the Firefox. Here we go. And then at this time if I will write password, no one can see it. See this. So here we go. There is a username. If you write admin and here password, if you write admin, here we go, admin, and if you hit the login, it will and he's just asking for save password or not. It will check the database and if the admin is right, then it will give us unsuccessful login. Otherwise, if you write any password, the random password, and you will try to log in, it will give you an error. So that was for today. Like we created the table and we created database, everything. So it's pretty easier if you will go through the step by step, and this is very unique technique for the using SQL connection, because if you will use this using SQL connection and command and data reader, then you don't have to close the connection every time. So this is very easy technique, you can use anywhere. Thank you so much, and if you like my video, please subscribe and share as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Bye.